Hey, what's going on, guys? Wednesday, June 4th. We are out here just about 9 o'clock at night. We have a sheep in the back here, and you may wonder, what are we doing here? Why are we out so late? Well, recently, this girl here, we discovered some sort of infection in her eye area. My guess would be that of pink eye. It's definitely something that can be common in sheep, although we have never experienced any sorts of infections or parasites here. I like to hopefully attribute that to, the way we're moving them around a little bit and giving them plenty of clean pasture to graze on. So it's really a first for us. We had discovered this a few days ago, almost a week ago. At first, I just went to kind of see how it progressed and what would really happen without trying to give any sort of antibiotics or admittedly not really even knowing what it was. Was it something that was just irritability? It did kind of just look like she was squinting at first. And then I read that sheep can be sensitive to the sun. Obviously, they've been in that sunny pasture with really no shade cover. So kind of wanted to let it see how it progressed for a few days. It did progressively get worse very quickly, a matter of fact, as you guys can see here. And she's a little startled, but she does have a lot of the hair on the front of her face missing. She's got some pretty fire red eyes, albeit they're not nearly as bad. So I do think she might actually be starting to get better. Even the hair has come back a little bit over the last couple days, or at least doesn't look as bad. So what we just did, we actually had to chase her down in the pasture. Wasn't the easiest thing. We administered this terramycin, which basically is going to be an antibiotic for bacterial infections, which pink eye certainly would be that. So it's an ointment. You just kind of drop it in her eyes. Gloves, definitely wear gloves. I don't have them now, but definitely put gloves on to do something like this anytime you're dealing with something that could be as contagious as pink eye. So we caught her later down. Then I also sprayed her with some hydrochloric acid, which is just good to kind of clean the area. Her ears were getting real sore, and I could be wrong about all this, but the more I have read, a lot of that will be due to the irritation of the eye. She's trying to scratch. Obviously, sheep aren't going to have hands there, so they're going to try to scratch on whatever they can, which mainly she's going to rub her head against what we actually found to be the side of her body, because she had kind of a huge shed spot on the side of her body where her hair was getting pretty thin. So that's going to be why she starts to lose hair, in that nose area and really irritate the ears, because she's constantly going to be scratching there. So we sprayed that hydrochloric acid on there as well. That's just going to kind of help clean the area up. And then again, guys, the ointment, we'll definitely look to continue that now that we got our hands on it. I am a little bothered because, a lot of the good stuff that's out there, you can't really get without a prescription. Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit, just tired from running around here. But yeah, you can't really get a lot of the good stuff without a prescription. And I understand to a degree why, but I also think it's important that, people do take matters into their own hands. And if they're trying to really take care of their animals, there should be easy access to that stuff, or at least easier access to that stuff. I could be wrong. Again, this is the first time we're dealing with an infection. I was able to pick this stuff up. My guess is that the dosage, that the power or effectiveness, I guess you should say, probably isn't as high as what you could get through like a prescription service. But you guys, maybe somebody out there will let me know if I'm wrong, or if there's a place that you can get it. I checked Valley Vet Supply, Tractor Supply, all things like that, and really need a prescription for all of it. So let me know if I'm wrong. I'd be happy to hear if I was wrong, and happy if you guys could help me out there. But anyway, what we're doing, we have her crated up now. She has been isolated here for a couple days since I noticed it. I quickly isolated the rest of the flock. So they've been kind of grazing free and clear in the pasture over there. I still felt a little odd, being that she was right there and could get close to them. Basically just electric netting separating. The first time I tried to get a hold of her the other day, she did go right over the netting. So if she really wanted to be with the rest of the flock, she could, which is why, tonight I decided if we're going to treat her, get her close to the house, we'll lock her up in kind of our holding corral, which is going to be a little bit easier to get in there and handle her. So unfortunately, she's taking a side-by-side ride with me here tonight. Again, it is nice. She's actually finally starting to calm down a little bit. But here's a good shot, guys. And I do apologize, if this stuff bothers you, if you are a little squeamish, but this is the reality. Hopefully we have a success story here. Like I said in the beginning, her eyes, when I first noticed this, were so fire red that was concerning. And as I was holding her down and kind of pulling her eyelid open, I saw at least some whites. I know it sounds like a small win, but it's definitely a large win in my book. It does, again, appear like she's doing a little bit better. The funny thing is about all this is she never once seemed in pain. She never once seemed lethargic or anything like that. She was moving around, grazing. I'd throw minerals in, she'd come running for them, and she was just fine. So that was definitely promising along the whole way as well. We'll kind of see. We'll take her down here. We'll pen her in. There's actually been a doe and 2 fawns in this corral because we've left the gate open now for a couple weeks. And they seem to be making that home every night. So it'll be interesting to see when we get down here if they're in there. And they might have company. This sheep might be joining them for a while. All right, guys, here we are. It's about 3 weeks later. Admittedly, I would have loved to give you guys an update a little bit sooner. More to come on what's been going on here, but a lot has gone down, so I haven't been able to really do that, hence why I've been a ghost here on YouTube. We do have the sheep in a newer pasture here. She is doing much better, as I kind of hopefully showed you guys there. And we really didn't want them to be, integrated back together. We had her separated like I kind of showed you that night. Was going to drop her in her own little paddock there for a while, just to make sure that nothing was contagious, nothing was infectious to the other animals. We were away on vacation a little bit a couple days ago and had a gate malfunction. Go figure, that's when that would happen. And being that the other sheep were right next door, well, they all just mingled back together, and here we are. But again, it's been about 3 weeks, I think, since I shot the beginning part of this video. And she's definitely doing much better. I'm going to try to get a little bit closer. The hair on her face is coming back. Obviously, the redness in her eyes had been going away very quickly thereafter. And then her ears are looking much better as well. She had kind of the worn spots on her back as well, which they look to be kind of healing up. So everything is looking up for her. Again, shouldn't be contagious. The more I'm kind of reading about this whole thing in general, I'm starting to question if it was pink eye. I don't really know, to be honest with you. Obviously, we were going to treat the symptoms as they presented, and we treated it as it was pink eye. You don't want to necessarily medicate your animals if you don't have to, but you also want to be safe and do the right things and keep your animals alive. So it really wasn't super invasive. Obviously, we had to catch her, which was a challenge in itself. We put the eye drops in. I didn't go anything further than that, and getting her into her own isolated paddock, I think helped as well, just not having the other sheep around and, kind of being around her, rubbing up against her and so forth. Now, as I've been saying, I have been reading more about this. Sheep can develop a photosensitivity, to the sunlight. It has been very hot here over the last couple weeks. I should say that really the last week, and extremely sunny. They were in a wide open pasture with very limited shade, some afternoon shade from the trees. So all that sunlight, you take that into consideration. It very well could have been a result of just some oversensitivity to the sun, being that they were out there kind of baking. The only thing I'd say about that is none of the other sheep seem to be affected. So it made me think otherwise. But then you could also say, pink eye would have been contagious to some of the other sheep as well. So again, the symptoms are very similar. You start researching these things, and all the symptoms that present for pink eye and for just a sun sensitivity are going to be pretty similar. Because as they get those red eyes, they're going to be bothered. They're going to start scratching, and well, then it's going to look the same at that point. Obviously, again, guys, the most important thing is that you have a healthy animal. I don't know why they're running from me. And there's Mary. I don't know what we're going to do about her woolly coat as well. But they're meeting up with the others. She never once, like I said, she never once showed any signs of lethargy or just really being sick at all, aside from having her eyes bothered. So we weren't gonna go crazy. I'm not obviously a huge fan of all sorts of medications and things like that. Now, if we had to, we would have taken it up a notch, and we would have, definitely seeked a little more help and tried to rectify that with whatever was required. But we always want to try to start with some more natural things if possible. If you can't do that, well, then we'll go kind of the less invasive ways, and then we'll obviously step it up if we have to. But everybody's back together. We did recently move them into the new paddock over here, or new pasture, I should say. We don't have this broken out into different paddocks like we did across the street. I actually think this pasture is much more desirable for sheep. There's a lot more diversity in here than just that of the orchard grass with some clover mixed in across. This has all sorts of stuff, and they seem to be having a ball in here. So they'll be in here for, I don't know, a good while. Most of the summer probably. We'll get them back across the street as we head into fall. Interestingly enough, they don't even bother the Christmas trees once they have fresh grass. So like I said, guys, whole flock is back together. Now they're coming up to me to see what's going on here for good. Mommy here in the back is probably sick of me chasing her down. She's finally coming up now. Hopefully you guys can get a better look. Of course, Dawson, the rain's gonna start coming down. You can see the ears are still a little bit red, but definitely significantly better than what they were. The eyes are good again, so we're making progress here. So we're hustling up the hill now as it's starting to pour on us, of course. The month of June has been chaotic. I know I've been a little bit of a ghost. That's what a couple issues will do to you. Call it an HVAC issue, some busy times at work, as far as company audits, things like that. Little vacation, and yeah, beginning of summer. So we've been getting rain nonstop. I think since sometime back into March, we've had over 20 inches here in Pennsylvania, which is just ridiculous. I mean, it makes for great pastures. We've had tremendous growth throughout the spring, which we didn't have last year. Who knows what's gonna happen over the next couple weeks. It's been a crazy ride here in June. To think it's, the month's almost over. We're heading into July, heart of summer. We're actually getting a bunch of chickens this coming weekend, possibly 20 that are already laying eggs. So that's obviously really exciting news for us as well. We got to get a setup there. And as you guys can imagine, we're always busy. We're always chugging along here. So I hope to be a little more frequent as far as getting some stuff out for you guys, showing you what's going on out here, giving you updates, hopefully teaching you something along the way. At the very least, maybe provide a bit of entertainment. I really don't know. So anyway, definitely good to be back again. Hopefully you guys found this one helpful. Let me know your thoughts on curing pink eye or just helping with photosensitivity with sheep. Definitely interested to hearing from you guys, and we'll be with you soon. Drop your questions, comments below, hit that like button, and take care, guys. Thanks for watching.